Hello, hello, welcome back. I'm Claire, this is Purple Poppy, and as you can see, we're back on Sunday stitching. So, as one of the viewers commented, last week we did catch of the day, and what a good catch it was. If only we could all get a necklace when we went fishing. So, I did that one at the bottom right, and I feel like this time I'm going top left. Now, of course, this is the thing, we need to get this in the, I'm going to actually take this off. I should have thought about this before, shouldn't I? If I take it off, it's going to be easier to work with. So there you go. We'll take it off and we're going to work on this top left today. And I've got a piece of calico that I have stamped with my new stamp set, and I don't want to keep so that every single video is all about my new stamps. So I've done it and it's on there. You know, you can put whatever you like. But because it says novelties, notions and novelties, I thought all the sort of things we use for stitching that are novelties are these little sort of make earrings or stitch them on the end of cords. I've got beads, I've got little scissor charms, I've got all sorts of things in here. And I thought we would put these on as if it was a sort of a salesman's demo sheet or card, if you like. You know, you get cards of buttons and things. And I've got this piece of Battenberg lace from a tablecloth that I had a while ago. That for some reason I've dyed pink. I don't know why. I was obviously making a pink journal or something. So I'm wondering if, yeah, I'm going to snip that. Here we go. Snippity snip snip. I'm going to snip that up that centre and round there. I was probably off screen, but all I did was cut it down. And I think we're going to sort of put that up the side there like that. So we're starting to introduce some lace. I'm wondering actually whether to go to the top of that brown. Doesn't mean we don't see that, but we always know we were going to be covering things up. And then I want some background. Now, because I'm working in pink, I don't know if putting them on a pink background is actually a good idea, but I've got this, which would be quite nice. It would be fine, I think, for the beads and for the silver bits, but how is it with this? Yeah, see, I don't think the pink's going to work. So then I wondered about this rose fabric. You've seen this many times, you know I love this because it's got pink in it, but it's not pure pink. So yeah, you see, that's going to work so much better. So we're going to use a piece of this. We don't need to put it all the way up there, just tuck it under the edge so that we can stitch it in, and we are going to give it a tear there, so that's going to give us a nice frayed edge. Get rid of all the threads. And I mean, we've all been making as part of slow stitching and journal making, depending on, you know, which quarter or both that you come from. We've all been stitching button cards for a long time, so why not stitch a novelties one, is what I'm thinking. And here we are doing it. So this is going to sit there, that's going to close down on it there. I feel like it's a little bit, no it's not, it's just the way I put it down. There we go. And then that's going to go to the top edge there. This we're going to stitch on and over the edge there. So it's another little bit of pink. And then I've got this one. I've got this really long one here. It's like a bag charm or a journal charm, which I thought could maybe hang there. Or is that better on that side? And then I've got a white one and a pink one of those. I've got my scissors. That's Boo having a scratch and a lick, you can hear. I've got some snazzy sunglasses, and then we've got our owl. So it's like you can have the dangle, you could have the individual pieces, they're the metal charms, and then we've got 2 beads, and that's the salesman's card. I think that's going to look a-okay. So that's what I'm on, that's what we're doing. So we're going to start, I'll probably forget what I did now, won't I? But anyway, we're going to start by stitching around the outside of this with this thread, which is probably 50 million lengths too long, but hey ho, you know what I'm like. So how are you? What have you been up to? I'm still sporting the nail polish from last weekend. If you watched my Tuesday video, you will know that I went out last weekend. I've done that for a while. Here we go. Are you alright, my baby girl? What's going on over there? She's got a sore on the side of her face. Are you playing with that again? She's been in a cone. I don't want to have to put it back on her because it's so hot at the moment. But if she can't leave it alone, are you listening to Mummy? If you can't leave it alone, it's probably going to happen. She's not listening, is she? She doesn't care. So, do an invisible stitch. Trying not to get a knot. Always getting a knot. Giant knot. Oh, it's almost like a French knot, look. There we go. Okay. And actually I quite like those tiny stitches, so rather than completely invisible, I think we're going to do that. We're going to do a tiny little, oh, that's hardly straight, is it, Claire? I don't do straight, you should know that by now. Just going to do little stitches. That's better, you're getting a bit more with it now. Not stitched for a good few days. Been doing other things, so Claire. This is why you shouldn't cut your threads so long. I bet you're all shouting at me, aren't you? Have you not learned your lesson by now, missus? Well, obviously not, no. Oh, it's really got the this bit. There you go. That's because it had one of those little tassely bits in it, I think. Look, we're definitely grave digging here, aren't we? We're going, and that's not even under there. Oh my days. Shall we start that again? What is it? Do as I say, not as I do. Right, let's try that again. Did I cut it too short? I don't think so. Let's stick a pin to hold it still. Perhaps that was the problem. Look, and despite that, I'm still not doing the thread any smaller. Oh, days. Right. Okay. So, right, there we go. So, in and up. So, what have you been up to? Because, I mean, it has been a week since we chatted. You must have done something during the course of the week, surely. Not long now, is it? Yours might already be off, but I know the grandchildren are on a half term in 5 minutes. Well, not half term, summer holidays in 5 minutes. So, actually, I'm just thinking, I don't need to sew all the way around the edge, do I? Because I'm going to sew all those pieces onto it, which means that it's going to get stitched all through the middle. So we're just going to stitch it across the top to make sure that it's connected. That's what we're going to do. I've decided, and you can't make me do any different. Oh, for goodness sake. See, some people, they just never learn, do they? Okay. That is obviously now one connected to the other. A little bit of grief along the way, but hey ho. And they're connected. Let's just, yeah, perfect. Okay. So, the first thing I was going to do was I was going to put this one on this side, wasn't I? And I quite like the fact that it's going to be dingle dangle. So, we're going to come back through. Now my nan would have done like a raised buttonhole here in order to hold this in place, and then opened the clip and put the clip through, but she ain't me or I ain't her, whatever. So we're just gonna do some stitches to hold it in place as if it was a button. Now I've got to be honest and say none of these pieces that I'm sewing on have got any particular memory, but obviously this was quite an achievement that I'm pleased and proud of. So that's the memory piece that's going on here. And I think that's the thing, not every single piece has to be important, does it? Ow, stab myself. I mean, it's all important when you've done the work, but you know what I mean. There you go. So I'm just going to come back through it again, and then I'm going to try and go through all of those stitches, and then just poke it back down. There we go, that's that one. First one's on. So then I think we'll have the pink one at the top and the white one at the bottom. So I'm going to scoop my needle across. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? First time. Woohoo! And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm just going to sew this on. So I've got this lovely fabric version of a sample card. Sorry, I keep saying it, don't I? Like you've forgotten what I'm doing. Oh, now look, you've done, Claire. See? That's why you shouldn't have this great long stupid thread. So I'm going to cut that off. Pull that out. See, I've been forced to go to short thread even if I didn't want to. Boo, don't make Mummy get the medicine out. Yeah, see, she knows what that means. She's off. Come on, leave it alone. It'll be fine. Leave it alone. Go on, go and have a sleep. What have you done? What have you done? Just a second. Oh, she's knocked stuff off my table. Sorry. Right. And of course we forget because, pardon you, goodness me, now she's belching. Oh dear, what is it they say? Never work with children and animals. Right. So that's that one. And then of course we're going to come down to about there, centrally under it. See, and it moves as well. That's what I like, that each piece is able to move. You're still doing it, I can hear you. Everybody watching can hear you. Pack it in. Oh, there's a car alarm going off. It's all happening. Okay, so we've got 3 on. Okay. It's cute. I'm liking it. See, this is what I was saying, we really didn't need to sew it all the way around the edge, did we? Just wasn't necessary. I'm just doing a little knot here. There we go. Right, so there's those three. And then we had beads, didn't we? So we're going to put the small bead about there, I think. It is a bead, I promise you, there is a hole. There it is. There you go. So now we don't want that, do we? Because we don't necessarily want to be staring at the bead hole. So let's just rectify that. That's better. Yep. Okay. And then the big one, no, about there, I think. Oh, have we got enough thread? Right, I'm going to do a down and up just to sort of secure the stitch, the thread, and then we're going to go through this. This is a porcelain bead. I love these ones. I haven't got many. I've got some in pink and some in blue, light and white. Pretty sure they come from China, but I do love them. Ow! I stuck the needle behind my fingernail. That was really stupid. It didn't feel very nice. Right, I have to have a new piece of thread. Oh, see, now that's annoying, isn't it? So, I'm going to put our needle through and try and thread it while it's through the fabric. This is what happens when you use short thread. But then of course if you use shorter thread properly all the time, you know where to stop. You don't just keep stitching like a mad woman and praying it'll be long enough. Oh Claire, what do you like? Anyway, I will thread this needle. Remember I bought those lovely needle threaders? Yeah, well, they don't go through these eyes because the eyes are too small. It's really annoying. That's why, of course, you need, don't come undone again. That, of course, is why you need the old-fashioned little wire ones. Right. Okay. So we've got our our big dangle, our two little dangles, our two beads, and now we're going to put all our little charms on, and then we can sew it to our piece. So this is a piece that I trimmed off earlier because it was too long. That's what Boo knocked off my desk. Right. So, I'm going to do another knot. I feel like maybe I've done them too close because now I've got all this extra space down here. But anyway, so I suppose we could potentially put something else on. Oh, more. Oh, actually, no, I want it over, don't I? Because we've got a piece of lace. Aha. See, forgot what I was doing for a minute there. Okay. So then about there. I think we'll put the owl on next. And then we'll put the glasses at the bottom. That's my plan. Who am I trying to kid? There was no plan. It just happened. So I'm moving on with the last of the quilts. We are getting there. I have been hand quilting it, as you know, about halfway through now. But I've got to be honest and say it is a nightmare. I would never do it like that again because I've just made such a rod in my back. It's, to say three-dimensional is a bit of an exaggeration, but it's semi three-dimensional, which means that I've had to quilt it on the front, whereas I would normally quilt it on the back. And because it is so thick, some areas are like 5 layers thick, and consequently I can't get a small stitch, so I'm having to do, not that I really do tiny stitches like some people, but I can't get a small stitch, so consequently it's yeah, it's just a bit of a problem. I feel like I've probably been hanging off the page again. Oh. But you know what stitching looks like, don't you? Right, so all my pieces are now on with the last knot just to wind me up. What has happened here? Right, there we go. So all of our pieces are on. Awesome. Owl's gone the wrong way. Lovely. And now we're going to put it in place and we're going to put it on our piece So I'm just going to pull that through and finish that off. I don't know if it's thundery, but she's hiding behind my chair, and she usually only does that when we're going to get a thunderstorm. So I better get a move on, and then I can go and get the washing in before it gets wet again. Right, so this is going to sit here. We need some pins. It's going to sit just there, and our little bit of ribbon as a hint to the customer that he also sells lace and ribbon. I'm going to pin here and here, and I'm going to stitch that down, and then it's all got a little dingle dangle life of its own, hasn't it? Right, needle and thread, get a knot, and then I'm just going to come into there. But I don't think I'm going to stitch this bit. I think I'm just going to stitch it down on this side, because I like the idea of having loose free movement, if that makes any sense. So just going to stitch through the holes that have already been offered to us as part of the patterning. That's it. Yeah, sorry, I was saying, wasn't I, about the quilt? So yeah, in some areas it's like 5 layers thick, so you just can't get one of those little up down stitches, you know, that you really want. So it is what it is, but I would definitely never quilt like that again. It was an experience. And what is it? If you don't try these things, you don't know. That's Boo, you can now hear snoring. Oh. So she's settled for the afternoon by the sounds of things. Okay, so it's stitched down that side, and now we're just gonna do some invisible little stitches, and I am going to do invisible ones this time. Across the bottom, but quite high up, so you've still got a little, I've still got a little bit of movement there. Don't know what that is. That's that annoying thread. Should have tucked that up underneath. Anyway, Okay, and if we flick them that way. Oh, coffee. It might seem to you like I'm talking a lot, but when you talk, or at least for me anyway, through the video, you not get thirsty. And then you get involved in what you're doing, and hey presto, coffee's gone cold again. Right. See, that's like 4 layers there, and yet they're thin cotton layers, so don't. Oh, see, it's on thread again. I'm not going to make you watch me thread that again, so I will deal with that myself in a minute. There you go. There's our little salesman's sample piece in that corner there. I love it. And whilst, you know, I never sold fabrics or anything, I did sell glass, I did sell skincare, so I'm used to looking at salesman's sample boards. So yeah, there's a life memory there. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found some joy and inspiration. Stay safe. I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.